All right, 93, 93, 93. This is the month I should renew from IshouldRenew.com. We back in here once again. Now, on this particular stream, we will be speaking about memory, the currency of memory, making memory deposits. See, for those who have been following me for quite some time, you know that I always emphasize memorization. To be able to lock into your memory these occult symbols and concepts. And you're not doing it for obvious reasons meaning just because you know you could appear to be more intelligent than the next person. It has nothing to do with the ego. It has everything to do with the alter ego. Because when you lock things into your consciousness, concepts, ideologies, when you are locked into your consciousness, you're able to tap into those frequencies because you are familiar with those frequencies. See, if you are unfamiliar with the frequency, how can you tap into it because you truly don't know it? You can't tap into something that you feel is truly, you can say, disconnected from you. If you feel you're over here and what you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to tap into is all the way over there, then of course, either it has to come to you or you have to go to it. But if they are one in consciousness, where they are expressing themselves as a unified force, meaning instead of you looking at yourself as whatever your sun sign may be, you look at yourself as the entire zodiac. Because everybody's natal chart contains all 12 zodiac signs. There is no one's natal chart that does not contain all 12 zodiac signs. Our sun sign just emphasizes a particular zodiac sign. You can say that zodiac sign is under the most influence, but it really depends on if you adhere to the sun or the moon. And that's another video I will be going into that's unreleased as of now. So what I'm saying here is memory is a currency, just like thought is a currency. And that currency can be multiplied, it can be built upon. You can invest into that bank. That's why they are called memory banks. You can invest into your memory banks. And you do so for the purposes of having a intimate understanding of these occult concepts. So it's not just something that is outside of you. So now you no longer see Aries as outside of you. You no longer see the planets as outside of you. All of these things represent concepts that are internal. They represent internal concepts. They represent state of consciousness that you can tap into. They represent the frequencies, the various frequencies that we have access to. Now, we may not have known that we have access to these frequencies originally, because originally we come into this knowledge thinking that we are one thing. You may come into this knowledge again thinking that you're an Aries or a Scorpio, a Leo or a Libra. We all start there. We all feel that we represent a particular path until we go deeper into the science and we realize that we're not just one, we are all, and these energies or these currencies are moving in a particular direction in accordance to which houses they actually rule over. So what I mean by that is if Aries rules over your third house, for example, that means your fields of study will be in accordance with the energy of Aries. meaning the fire element. So your fields of study would be like exercise, nutrition, health, things that help you to develop your physical body, things that help you to develop your image. Those would be fields of study that you would actually be interested in because Aries controls your third house, for example. So if we're just looking at your sun sign, which let's just say maybe Libra, if we don't take into account the influence that Aries has on your particular energy or your particular chart, then that's a whole area of life that is being neglected. So we can say all day how we are this sign or that sign, but the entire zodiac influences your entire life. And different zodiac signs or different zodiac frequencies control, well, not necessarily control, but they influence different areas of your life. So just as much as you may know about Libra, you must know about Aries, you must know about Cancer, you must know about Scorpio, because all these attributes represent a particular area of your life. And because they represent a particular area of your life, the more you know about these particular frequencies, the more you can better understand that particular area of your life. So if, for example, if Aries represents your third house, the deeper you go into the frequency of Aries, the more you're going to understand what that third house represents and how you can go deeper into your third house, irregardless of what your particular sun sign may be. So as you see, the more we go into these particular signs and these symbols, we realize that just because, again, your sun sign may be this, that doesn't mean that you get to neglect the other 11 zodiac signs because they have an influence over particular areas of your life. And it's going to be that way until the time of your death. So, for example, once again, if Aries controls your third house, that's for the remainder of your life. That's not for a particular phase. Now, of course, we are dealing with progress charts. So you have your natal chart, then you have your progress chart. So your progress chart is always progressing, but that is not necessarily the end all be all because you are still going to be under the influence of your natal positions or your natal alignments. So this is essentially what I mean by investing into your memory banks. You realize that you have all of these energies in your chart. So if you have all these energies already in your chart, irregardless of your sun sign, then it will benefit you to better understand how these energies actually materialize in your life. Because if you don't know how these energies materialize in your life, you're going to be at a loss if you're particularly just concerning yourself with your sun sign. Because you see, as the deeper we go into these sciences, your sun sign becomes less and less relevant. The more you realize that you must take into consideration the entire zodiac, you must take into consideration the entire solar system. So if you are taking into consideration the entire zodiac and the entire solar system, then 1 point of 22 points, because we have 10 planets and we have 12 houses. So that represents 22 points in total. So every person has an emphasis on 22 particular degrees. So not only do you have 22 points, you have 22 degrees because each of those points are represented by a particular degree. So going back to the original example, if Aries rules over your third house, it's not just Aries rules over your particular house. It also depends upon the degree in which Aries falls under. So 5 degrees Aries is going to be different than 10 degrees Aries, which is going to be different than 15 degrees Aries, which is going to be different than 20 degrees Aries. All these things make a difference. So whether Aries is in the first decan, the second decan, or the third decan makes a difference because the planetary influence changes depending on whether it's in the first, second, or third decan. So because the planetary influence changes, you knowing that already will make a difference, right? So this is why all of these matters are important because not only are you studying, let's just say your third house, for example, when you go into the actual degree, when you go into the specifics of your third house, okay, what does it mean specifically? So now again, we're going beyond just something being Aries or something being Gemini. You must take into consideration the deacon. And that's why last video I spoke about the 36 deacons in the minor arcana. So then you must study the minor arcana. So essentially, to truly understand your zodiac, you must study the entire minor arcana. And what I mean by the minor arcana, again, is the 36 deacons, plus the 4 aces, plus the 16 court cards, which makes up a total of 56 degrees. Right? So again, this is only for your benefit. So I don't mention these things because this is something that you should know, that you could know, that may benefit you. I mention these things because these will absolutely take you to a higher caliber of how you should navigate your life, because now you are doing it based upon your divine will versus your free will. See, everybody has a free will to do whatever they please and ignore these factors. However, if you are a person who chooses not to ignore these factors because you understand the significance of these particular factors, then you understand if you acknowledge these factors, you want to be specific in your acknowledgement. And again, so now you're going beyond, well, okay, well, my third house is ruled by Aries. Now it becomes my third house is ruled by 5 degrees Aries, 10 degrees, 15 degrees, 20 degrees, 25 degrees. And that makes a difference. That's not just degrees for the sake of degrees. That makes a difference. Depending on the degrees will determine which planet is influencing that particular zodiac sign. And that's why you have the 2, 3, and 4 of wands, because those represents the 3 phases of Aries. The 2 has a different nature than the 3. The 3 has a different nature than the 4. When we're dealing with the 4, we're dealing with the energy of Venus. When we're dealing with the 3, we're dealing with the energy of the sun. When we're dealing with the 2, we're dealing with the energy of Mars. So you see, depending on which degrees your particular points fall on, it will determine what planet is influencing that particular zodiac sign. So once you have these equations in your head committed to your memory, you can always tap into these frequencies, because you know that this energy is represented as a particular point of interest in my life. So that means each point of your life can be broken down to a particular degree, because there are 360 degrees in total. So you can say life is contained within the 360 degrees of the zodiac. So of those 360 degrees of the zodiac, 22 of those degrees are of particular importance in your life. Because again, we have the 10 planets and we have the 12 zodiac signs. So depending on those 22 degrees, that will determine, you can say your life is contained within these particular degrees, these 22 degrees. So not just going to the planet, not just going to the zodiac, but you are also taking into consideration the degrees. You are taking into consideration the mathematical components. You are taking into consideration the deacons. This is why this science is here for all of us. Nobody can claim this. This has been given to us through the ancestors for us to decode our particular lifestyle. So because this has been given to us from the ancestors, meaning we didn't have to earn it, your ability to earn it is you committing it to your memory. That's just you taking it seriously. That's how you earn, you can say, the occult information. You knowing it is not enough. You must understand it from the inside out. In order to understand this from the inside out, you must commit it to your memory, because when you commit it to your memory, you allow the ideas to marinate. The ideas are able to develop within you, and you can come to your own particular, you can say, conclusion. Your conclusions that you come up with will be based on your personal understanding. And it's not going to be based on what somebody else told you. So that's essentially the point that I'm making here. We are doing these things for our personal benefit. The more you understand these degrees, the more you're going to understand how these degrees manifest in 3D, how these degrees manifest in real time. So we're not just doing this just for the sake of knowing your points. You're doing this so that you can see how these points materialize in your life in real time. And this is the true purpose of why you would want to know your astrology or your numerology or any other science, because you want to know how these energies manifest in real time. Because once you know how to deal directly with these energies, then there's nothing that you can't do, because you know what you're capable of. And you know how you can say, how you engage certain energies or areas of life. So, for example, if Aries rules over your third house, you engage your third house or your fields of studies with a cardinal fire force. That means you're always absorbing information. You want to absorb as much information as you can. The information is magnetized to you because the energy is cardinal. It's energy moving in one direction, full force in one direction. So that means, you are extra interested, or you have an invested interest in fields of study, because that's just a currency of Aries. Aries is manifesting in your particular life in your third house, which is different in the fourth house, which is different in the fifth house, and again, which is different in the fifth degree versus the 10th degree versus the 20th degree, so on and so forth. So this is why these things are not really spoken about in mainstream astrology, because you see, once you go into these arts, it becomes more and more customized, and you have to add your own emphasis to your points. So based on the conclusions you come to, which will be different than someone else's, how you view your life and how you navigate your life will be based upon your mathematical comprehension. That's why the devil card in the tarot is equated to Capricorn, which is a mathematician of the zodiac. Because it all comes down to mathematics. Your ability, or how swift you are, not just with mathematics as a whole, but your particular mathematics. So that's what this is all about. How swift are you with your own personal equations? Because that's what it comes down to. Your chart, your numerology, all that is your own personal equations. These are universal equations to help you understand how you should navigate life and how you can activate your divine will. So I'm gonna, come up with more and more videos, right? So again, I'm just putting them out one by 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 one. Just gonna keep going, So expect to see about 10 live streams. It's like, why not? And again, you hear all type of background noise. I swear, none of this was going on before I went live. So this is what I be saying in terms of when I try to get this information out. There's always, like, again, now cats going crazy. You know what I mean? People walking around, all type of shit be going on. Whereas before, everybody's minding their own business, right? But we're not letting any of that stop us, because that's essentially what's been going on anyway. I'm always looking for an excuse. This isn't the right time. This is going on right now. That's going on right now. And it's like, I'm done with that, because again, as you see, it's always been an issue me putting out content. It's never been an easy thing. It's all because it's always a million and one things going on. And again, you ain't necessarily trying to put all type of madness in the videos. So as much as I try to keep things, you can say, purified and up to standards and all that, it's like I'm not even thinking about that no more. You know what I mean? So if you end up hearing cussing and shit in the background, or, the neighbors and all that, you hear any type of madness, it's like, I don't even care about this shit no more. That's really what I've been trying to keep off camera. Because I'm like, I ain't trying to mix the knowledge with the bullshit. But now, if there's any type of madness going on, it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to show you this is how you overpower the bullshit. I've been kind of in the cut, just falling back. I'm like, yeah, let people do whatever they want to do. But now let's show and prove how this will supersede any opposition that may come our way. So that's why I'm like, so fuck anything that's going on in the background, fuck anything anybody else is going. It's like we're just going to keep the knowledge and we're going to see what has the most power. Because at this point, there's simply no more waiting. Time is over. The time to wait is over. If we're not generating the reality from the 0 point consciousness, then we're just going to fall by the wayside and get drugged by the karmic winds. And with that, I bear peace. I'll be right back up. 93, 93, 93.